Alright pilots, welcome back. Nick's here with another beginner's guide for your A10C2. So we've already done our cold start. We've flown around, we've taken off, taxied, landed. We've done some terminology and usage of our keybinds, setting up our HOTAS, and we've already done some CCIP and dumbfire weapons. So today we're going to get a little bit more detailed. We're going to get into using our targeting pod and using laser guided and GPS coordinate bombs. So on that last episode we got into what SOI and SPI is, and we're going to do a quick refresher on that because you're going to be utilizing your SOI and your SPI quite a bit now, because all of your bomb drops are going to be using your targeting pod. That way you can have a GPS coordinate drop or a laser pointer drop. So again, SOI is sensor of interest, which your sensor of interest is whatever piece of equipment or whatever sensor in your cockpit that you're utilizing. So if the HUD is SOI'd, then our DMS and TMS do certain things, and so on and so forth. So right now on the HUD, DMS up and down is going to cycle through waypoints, and DMS left and right is going to cycle through weapons on our DSMS. And if we SOI the JDAMS, we'll have commands we can do there. Up and down changes brightness, left and right is your, well, right is your profiles, left turns your targeting pod mini screen on and off. And of course, to switch your SOIs, it's up and down on your coolie hat. So up goes to HUD, down goes to your JDAMS, and it's a short press. When you're talking about A10s, short press means to just click or hit your hotkey once, or your HOTAS once, just up and on. So just down once, up once. Long means to hold your press. So if I say China hat short, like China hat forward short, that means you just hit your China hat forward and depress it. You don't hold it. On long, it means you hold it. So from now on, whenever we're saying commands, we'll say short or long. If you don't say long, you just assume it's always short. So it'll always be short until somebody says long. Alright, so to SOI your left and right MFDs as your sensor of interest, though, it's not a short, it's a long press. So we want to SOI our map because we need to do something with the map and we don't want to reach up here and click on our MFDs. It's going to be left on your coolie hat because the TAD is on the left. If the TAD was on the right and we wanted to SOI it to the right, we would hold to the right on the coolie hat. So it's directional and it's a long hold. So here we go, holding left, and now it's SOI'd. And you can tell it's SOI'd because it's now boxed and the not SOI is up. Targeting pod, same thing. We'll turn on our targeting pod, boot it up. You can see it's bore-sided, so there's the triangle. And then we will hold coolie hat to the right long. And now we're SOI'd, which means our TDC slew is going to now start moving the targeting pod around. And let's get it back to bore sight. So you can either just stand by it, you can cycle from air to air, back to air to ground. It's going to re-bore sight it. Or we can just go to standby because we don't really need the targeting pod just yet. So the first thing you need to do is anything can be a SPI. If you have a waypoint, like right now our waypoint is our initial starting point. So we're going to SOI our HUD and we're going to cycle through some waypoints. Let's see if there's a waypoint near us here. That's pretty far away. Let's look at our map and see. There's Headcorn. Okay, so Headcorn is probably, it should be a waypoint that's already in. So let's just cycle through and see if we can find Headcorn. And we are using the Normandy 2.0 map for this lesson, which is a really cool looking map. It's mainly used for World War II missions and stuff, but you can use it for whatever you want. It's a beautiful map. But, fair warning, if you do use the Normandy 2.0 map for modern stuff, a lot of the runways are kind of small. Because they're made for piston planes. Well, gosh, I don't even see a Headcorn on here, do I? Well, there's Dunkirk. Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, anything that is your waypoint is your SPI. So if you have a waypoint programmed into your CDU, and that's where enemies are, you could select that waypoint, which we'll get into that when we do when we bring all of our lessons together to plan out a mission. That's going to be my last video for the A10, is to have a mission map where there's enemy units, and we're going to look at the map together. We're going to plan out a mission, and then we're going to program it into our navigation system, into our INS CDU as waypoints, and then we're going to persecute those targets and bring all of our skills together. But just know that waypoints are SPs automatically. So right now our SP is our initial starting position. If we scroll up to another place, like let's say is way out there across the ocean, you can see there's a white cake there. So that is our SP, which means if we were to turn on our targeting pod, and now we're going to soy the targeting pod. Now, to slave your targeting pod to your SPI, you have to soy the targeting pod, and then it's China hat forward long. So you're just going to hold down your China hat forward, and it's going to slew that targeting pod to that SPI. So if you look out behind us, now you see that box around that sensor point of interest. That is showing your targeting pod. The only reason why we can't see anything is because the targeting pod is now looking through itself, so it's masked. But that is how you slew your targeting pod to your sensor of interest. And we'll rebore side it. And we're going to put it in standby for now. So let's just put our... We're going to go ahead and soy the HUD again. Let's go ahead and get right back to our initial starting position. That's why our soy is right here, right behind us in the sky. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly. So we're facing north. Right directly to our east is our little targeting practice area that we used for our CCIP video. So we're going to turn around and we're going to show you how to drop a JDAM on a factory. We'll just use we'll bomb two factories. We'll just drop two 500-pound JDAMs. Those are going to be our GBU 38s. Now, we're not going to make a waypoint. We're going to do this on the fly. Using our JDAMs to make a SPI anywhere we want on the ground. And I'm going to explain how we do that. So to make a waypoint on the ground, you soy the JDAMs. We can tell we did it with our asterisk, so it was just a coolie hat down short. Now, we're going to have to spot off to our east. There it is right down there. So there is our airfield. You can see those three factories from there. So when your JDAMs is soyed, now all of your HOTAS inputs go to your JDAMs. So if we start using our TDC slew right now, it's going to pull the box off of our crosshair. So we're going to pull a box, and we're going to put it right over those factories. Once you have your box where you want it, you hit TMS up long to set a SPI. So we're going to do that right now. We're just going to hit up on our TMS and hold it. Boom. And now we have a SPI right where we were looking. So now that is our sensor point of interest, which means if we turn on our targeting pod and we soy it by coolie hat right long, and now we hit China hat forward long, which slews the targeting pod to the SPI. And because that is our SPI, and there we go. The targeting pod is now slewed to it. We just hit China hat forward long and slewed it. And now if we look in our targeting pod, we can see, well, there's those factories. And we can move our targeting pod around. You can use your DMS up and down to zoom in and out. Your China hat forward short is going to zoom to narrow, because right now you can see it's in wide. So we'll just click it once, boom, and now we're at narrow, so we're zoomed in even more. And if you hit forward short again, it goes back to wide. So that just cycles between wide and short, or wide and narrow, I should say. So if you need to get a little bit more zoom out of it, you can just go to narrow. Also, your boat switch that has a forward, center, and back, if you go forward, it goes to black hot. And if you go to back, it goes to white hot. And then center is your TV. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a GPS drop on this first factory. So what we need to do is we need to zoom in here. And we're going to want to aim at the bottom of the factory. You never want to, like, it's playing a video game, you would think to put the crosshair right on the middle of the target. But because you're looking down on a thing, and a GPS coordinate is a spot on the ground, also with a laser, because you're shooting a laser down at an angle, to hit the target you're trying to hit, always aim near the bottom of it. And I'll tell you why. It's because of the angle. So if I pull a GPS from, say, here, I'm actually not going to be GPSing right on the factory right there. I'm probably going to be GPSing it like 20 yards on the other side of it. So you want to aim down here near the bottom. So that's pretty good. Now, if you're flying directly over something and you're looking straight down on it, then you can put the GPS right in the middle of it, because the angle will be straight down. So your GPS will be more accurate. So we're going to basically change this to the new speed. So to make this our GPS coordinate, we're just going to leave the cursor where it's at. We're going to hit TMS up long. And that is it. We now have our target point. So we're going to come over here to our DSMS, and we're going to select our GBU 38s. We're going to arm our laser, and we're going to arm our aircraft. So our pickle is now hot. The alignment is ready on our GPS. And we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and unpause the simulation so we're flying now. And I need to get trimmed out. And you can see we're all set to go. We've got our GPS set. Everything's good. And you can see it defaults CCRP for a JDAM, because you do not dive bomb JDAMs. You're going to glide them in. They'll guide themselves. You just got to get them into the right spot going fast enough. So what we're going to do is we're just going to turn over and turn in. And we're going to see a bomb drop line, almost like it was CCIP, except it's just going to be right here on the HUD, and we're not going to dive to it. And we can use our JHEMIX to look to the side to see where that SPI is. There's our bomb drop line. Now you don't have to be exact, but you just want to kind of try to get your bomb drop line. I'm going to pause it right here because we don't have much time. You see it's already got 0.5 seconds to where we're in the zone to drop. This will be the zone to drop. You can drop it anywhere in there, but you want to drop it somewhere in the first half. You don't want to get too close. JDAMs can't make drastic turns or anything. They're just going to change their downward trajectory to get to the target. So don't press your luck on getting too close. And you want to try to get this drop line somewhere in the middle of your flight vector. This is your flight vector right here. This is where you're flying to. This is where you're going to end up while you're flying. And my head tracking is going crazy because it's junky. But the reason why the bomb fall line is not directly over the target, that might throw you off, it's because there is wind. So the computer is taking that account in. So your best place to line up is going to be straight up and down, straight up on your flight path vector. So I'm going to attempt to do that, and when we get to 0 and it says, well, it'll say manual release right here and we'll be ready to drop. I'm going to wait a couple more seconds just to make sure I've got plenty of room, because if you drop it right away, there is a chance that it might land maybe a little bit short because it's at its maximum chance to get to the target. So we have both of them selected. So when I'm ready to drop, I'm just going to hold down the pickle button until it releases a bomb. And then I'm going to hold down the button one more time and release another one. It'll go to the same GPS coordinate. So here we go, unpausing. 2 and 0 and manual release. I'm going to hold down the pickle. There's 1 and there's 2, and we're off left. And we're chapping and clearing. Now you can see we're pretty far away. But JDAMs can actually glide pretty far, especially if you're in a fast-moving plane. We are not in a fast-moving plane, but still, we're high enough. We're at 12,000, almost 13,000 feet. Those 500-pounders can glide pretty far, so we're going to put on our... And we're going to active pause, and let's check out our bomb drops. So you can see they really do have a ways to go. Which is why JDAMs are also extremely safe. So there's if there's like, say, a Strela SHORAD, a short range air defense, you know, Stinger style missile, an IR missile, infrared missile, you don't want to fly directly over the target because it'll shoot a missile at you and might blow you out of the sky. Well, using a JDAM is a very good way to aggress those targets from a more safe distance, because you can glide a JDAM in from pretty far away. As you can tell, these JDAMs have come in from well outside the range of a SHORAD. Laser guided munitions are fairly the same. And there we go. Both bombs hit, and we have one dead factory. So that's why JDAMs are so darn useful. So if we wanted to, what we could have done is, if we had bigger bombs, which we do have some bigger bombs, we could have held down the TMS where we were and dropped one bomb, and then while we were still flying, we could have moved up to here, hold down TMS up long again and made that a new one, and then dropped the other one on the second factory in a single run. So next, let's try a fatter bomb. So you see these underground bunkers right here. Now a 500-pound bomb isn't going to do anything to this underground bunker. What we need is a bigger bomb. Luckily, we brought a bigger bomb. So we've got two GBU-31s. These are called bunker busters for a reason. They are 2,000-pound JDAMs with penetrator heads. We'll show you what those look like. So there they are right there. You can see that point on the end of that bomb is an extremely hard encased steel head to make sure it doesn't get damaged, and it can penetrate down through the ground quite a ways before it detonates. So what we're going to do is we're going to select our big JDAMs here. So there is, we'll go to white hot, and we're going to set a SPI right about here, because we are at an angle, and I'm holding down TMS up long. So now our SPI should be right here. And I'm doing that because when the bomb is over the target, that GPS is probably right here somewhere in the center from the direction we're looking down at it. We're going to unpause our active pause, and now...
Warning, autopilot.
Also, you can see I accidentally went to a point track. Now we're back to inertia. So your TMS right... or hitting the TMS up short is going to change it from a point track to an inertia track. So I'm going to go ahead and move that SPI a little bit more now, and now I'm going to lock it in there. TMS up long. So TMS up short cycles between inertial track and point track. Point track is when you're going to try to track something that's moving, which we'll get to that here in a minute with laser. But when you're going to maneuver your aircraft around, make sure you go down to inertial track. INRA. Point track is P, A is inertial. So you do that because now we're going to fly the aircraft at different angles. That's going to cause the targeting pod to mask itself just like that. If you're on point track, you can actually gimbal roll the head of the targeting pod and mess it up, and it's going to just throw a lot of wrenches in your whole situation. So always have your targeter on inertia track, unless you're literally trying to point track a moving target. That's just a good rule of thumb to have. You won't have to worry about gimbal rolling near as much. You won't have too many problems with your targeting pod. Like when you roll in on a target and you're ready to start shooting your laser guided munitions, and as soon as you roll into the target, your targeting pod does a little bounce, and then it's off target, and you're frantically trying to re-find your target. So don't go to the point track until you're ready to actually fire on the object. So you can see now we're coming out, and you can see our inertial track kept it right about in the right spot. Alright, we're going to keep on coming around. And it's going to be the same thing, except we're going to have to get a little bit closer this time, because a 2,000-pound JDAM does not glide near as far, especially in a hog where we're only going 277 knots. Now, if we were going 400 knots, we could glide it in from a lot farther away, as you would expect. So we're just going to try to stay flat and level here, and we're going to try to get our drop bomb line right through our flight vector path. We're going to go ahead and try to trim our nose a little bit so we stop trying to climb. We're going to drop both of our JDAMs here. 3, 2, and 1. And now we're in the zone. We've got manual release, and I'm waiting a couple more seconds. Now we're holding down 1 away, holding down the button again, and 2 away. And we're off left, chaffing and flaring. Again, chaffing and flaring after a drop, if you don't know what's below you, is just always smart. If you know there's no shore ad under there or anything like that, then you're probably okay not to use your chaff and flare, and we can re-verify our target. It looks like we're going to be pretty good. If this was a laser guided bomb, we could actually change where the targeter is right now for the laser to make sure we hit directly where we want it to. But GPS, you can't change it. It's already in, it's already going. And these bombs look like they're going pretty good. Boom, boom. And that's one dead command center. So, that is GPS bombs in a nutshell. Piece of cake, right? Not a big deal at all. Just remember, get your target where you want it. Make sure you're on inertia track so you don't gimbal roll your targeting pod and mess up your target while you're maneuvering to get your shot. TMS up long to set it as the new SPI, which also sets it as your GPS coordinate for your bomb drop. And TMS up short to switch between inertial track and point track. And we're going to start doing point track here in just a second, because now that we're done with GPS, we're going to get into laser guided. So the big difference between GPS and laser guided: GPS is going to be what you're going to want to drop on static targets, because you're dropping it to a point on Earth. The thing you're trying to bomb just happens to be on that point on Earth. So if it's a moving target, your GPS isn't going to do you any good. Now, I have dropped JDAMs onto moving targets before by dropping a very large JDAM and just seeing the road that the enemy is on and trying to kind of gauge if the bomb's going to get there. And I've gotten pretty good with that, but it's not the best thing to do. So when something's moving, you're going to want laser guided, because the laser is a constant track that you can move. So you can't do a point track with GPS. As soon as you set the GPS is that point on the ground. So let's find ourselves a good target for a laser drop. I don't have anything moving right now, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to demonstrate how it's done. Okay, let's go ahead and do an active pause right here, just so we have time to check it out. So we've got our targeting pod, and we're moving around, and we're looking for some good targets. There's tanks right there. Look at that. So that's an inertial track. And I'm going to aim at the bottom of it right here, like I was going to drop a JDAM on it, like that. And I'm going to hit TMS up long. So now that is our SPI, and that is our GPS coordinate to drop the bomb. But it's a laser guided bomb, so the GPS does not matter. So if it was moving, we would go to a point track. See how it says P now. So now it's going to attempt to try to lock on. To that target. If it was moving, you would see a box. Oh, we also need to make sure we want laser selected. So this right here selects between your infrared pointer, both, or your laser. We're going to make sure we have our laser. Also, we need to make sure that our laser is shooting the correct code. So we come up here. You can see our laser is 1688, 1688, 1688. And our laser guided bombs are shooting on 1688. So when you're putting your munitions on your plane before you start up, when you're on your refueling screen and all that, you can change the laser code from there to make sure you don't conflict with somebody else. And then you can change it in your targeting pod by selecting it and changing it. Which we're not going to do that right now. Just use your default for now, and in another video when we get deeper into the weeds, we can, oops. we can go over how to change the laser code. But just for now, just use the default. So let's reset our thing. So you can see we've already got a box there. So I'm just going to soy my HUD, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit TMS up long, and that's going to reset the speed to where it was. Air to ground, soy the targeting pod, China hat forward long, and there we go. So let's get back over here on our tank. So now we've got a point track, but we don't need it. We're just going to go back to inertia track. So now just to show you the button, just to make sure we're all on the same track here, your HOTES nose wheel steering button that you would use to turn your nose wheel steering on and off on the ground. When you're using your targeting pod and you're flying, oh, we're on active pause, aren't we? That's why I was like, why is this not working? Okay, anyway, your nose wheel steering button is going to be your lasing button as well. So you can see right there, it is now blinking the L. That means right now I am currently firing my laser. So I will click my nose wheel steering button again to shut it off. And we've got GBU 12s. We're not using a profile, so we are going to have to manually turn the laser on. We're also going to go ahead and go to CCRP mode. So we're going to hit our master mode to CCRP. Make sure our laser's turned off. So once you're in CCRP mode and your weapon is selected, the nose wheel steering button is going to turn your laser on and off when you're ready to drop. I'm going to pause again. Okay, so when you come around to the target, you're going to have two drop lines now. This is your bombing circle. You're going to have a line coming up and a line coming down, and you're going to try to marry these two lines and then fly directly through them. And you're going to see a pipper come down, and when it gets into here, you're going to hold down your bomb release, and that's going to drop the bomb. And then once the bomb is dropped, after a few seconds, you can turn your laser on to guide it in. There's a lot more to it you can do, but we're just trying to keep it simple. Drop the bomb in the zone, turn on your laser. So unpause. Let's fly a little bit farther away. We can also, once we're flying over the target, if we once we drop the bomb and we look at our targeting pod and we see that it's a tad off, we can use our TDC slew to maneuver and make sure that that laser's pointing right on that tank, right where we want to hit it. So we're going to roll in now, and you'll see the drop lines appear on your HUD once you're vectoring onto the target. Same way it did with the JDAMs, it just looks a little confusing at first because of the double lines for the CCRP drop with laser guided. Because the JDAM guides itself. The laser also guides itself, but you kind of need to actually get it a little bit closer on target before you drop. Okay, so there's the drop line. So we're just going to try to line up the drop line into the center of our drop circle. And if you see that circle, if you see that circle on the top that says 20 now, that's counting down. When it starts getting close, that circle is going to drop down. And then you're going to hold down the pickle button as the circle gets close to the big circle. And when it's inside, it's going to automatically drop that bomb. So here we go, and we are now holding down the pickle button. Boom, it dropped the bomb. Now we're going to look at our tank. We're going to reposition a little bit, make sure it comes right down on the hatch. And now our laser is on and we're lasing. So now the real trick is we have to make sure we do not mask our targeting pod, because the laser has to keep firing on the target until the bomb hits it. So we really have to make sure we do not run out of space for our targeting pod. You can see that little line, that little dot moving. If that little dot would have gotten all the way to the end, it would have masked the targeting pod, and then the laser would have been cut off and the bomb would have went stupid. So one thing you can do is, after you drop the bomb, depending on how far you are, I didn't have to do anything but roll a little bit and then slow down. But if you're really high and the bomb's going to drop for a while, you'll want to set up an orbit. So you'd want to turn right a little bit harder and get a little bit of an angle, and then we'd want to turn left in because our targeting pod is right there, and put a slight roll on it and then just hold it. So we're basically doing a circle around the target to keep the targeting laser on it the whole time. We're close enough to the ground and we're moving slow enough that we don't have to worry about it too much. But you can see our laser bomb dropped right on the tank we wanted to blow up. Piece of cake. So we have one more GBU 12 selected. Let's just pick a different target and do the exact same thing. And there is our T-90 in shambles. Alright, so let's go ahead and put our heading hold on. We're going to stay moving this time. So, oh, you see these tanks? They moved around on us. See them? So let's get this guy right here. Again, we're going to aim near the bottom of the tank. I am now setting that as the SPI. We're in inertial track. It's not moving. So, by the way, if it was a moving target, it would just, when we went to point track, the targeting pod would notice that that's a moving thing and then put a box around it and attempt to stay locked onto it. And then the laser would just follow the thing as it's moving. So that's how you drop a laser-guided bomb on a moving target. Next time I do a demonstration, I will do it with some moving targets, but it's all the same. Alright, so here we go. We're going to roll in. We've got plenty of altitude. We've got plenty of distance. Oops, my laser was turned on. I just hit my nose wheel steering to turn it off. You don't want to keep your laser running all the time. You'll burn it up. Let's go to narrow, which was China hat forward short. Now we've got a good look at the tank. Zoom out just a little bit. There's our drop line. So we're going to get straight lined up with the drop line. And we're far enough away that we don't have a counter. There's the counter. The counter just started. Well, I need a new head tracker, don't I? So 15 seconds. 10 seconds. We're not holding the pickle button yet. And now we're holding the pickle button. Trying to get straight. Bomb is away. That looks like we don't have to change the targeter much. We'll just put it right about there. And laser is on. It's looking good. We're just going to do a straight, slight roll to the left and slow down. Make sure we have as much time on target with the laser to make sure the bomb gets all the way there. It's looking good. Kaboom. Piece of cake, right? It's really that simple. Turn the laser off with our nose wheel steering. Deselect these weapons. Now we've got one more laser weapon to go through. By the way, the size of the bomb doesn't matter. It's the same procedure. Get your SPI on the target. Set it as your SPI. Get your targeter where you want it. Run the, fly the director to where it tells you to go. Drop the bomb when it tells you to drop it. Turn on your laser after, depending on your altitude. You can wait a little bit before you turn the laser on. Make sure you set up on an orbit to where you're not going to lose the laser. Turn it on and let the bomb do all the work. JDAM is even easier than that. You just set your SPI on the target you want to blow up, and then fly the director until it tells you to drop that bomb. Let it go and fly away. JDAM does all the rest of the work. Which is why JDAMs are some of the best bombs you're ever going to use. Unless something is moving, and then that's when the GBU 12s are going to come into play. But for the most part, I only use GBU 12s when it's going to be moving targets for sure. Or I just need to take more bombs, because GBU 12s you can take Bra 42 racks, which will give you 3 GBU-12s per rack, and you could have 2 of those, so that's 6 GBU-12s you can put on your wings. If you want to get crazy, you can put 12, but that's a little bit much. Alright, next weapon is going to be our Predator rockets, laser-guided rockets. So let's find ourselves a BMP. Right there. So we're going to set this up just like we would a laser bomb. We're going to aim kind of at the front here. I'm going to set that as our SPI, and now let's come back around. We're going to select our Predator rockets. And just like any other laser-guided munition, when I shoot this rocket, I have to hold the laser on the target all the way until it hits. You can't fire a bunch of rockets at a bunch of different targets. I mean, you could in general by moving the laser after the first one hits, but that's a lot of work to just go one at a time. Or 2 or 3 at the same target. Which I usually fire at least 2 of these rockets. So it should default CCIP, which it did. So we're just going to use our JDAMS here to see our target, spot our target, and we're going to turn around to it. These Predator rockets have about a 4-mile range. So at about 4 miles, I'll turn the laser on, and then I will fire my rockets when I'm at least 3.9 miles away. So we're going to get our rocket reticle, which you'll be able to see our SPI is that little triangle there. So now we're in. We're inside. I'm going to turn the laser on. I'm going to reposition it right there, and 1, 2, and we're just going to leave the laser on. Reposition it. There we go. Perfect. Right in the middle. You just want to make sure that that triangle was inside your large reticle. Boom, boom. All right. Laser off, and we're going to pull away. It's that simple. And we can pull out. Whoop. Those other BMPs took off, didn't they? And let's see. Let's shoot a building. So I can't see what my targeting pod can see yet, but what I can do is move it to about where I see, because it's on inertial track. So now when we come out of this turn, we should be looking right at one of those factories. We're going to fire 5 of our rockets, the remaining 5 of our rockets at this factory, and see if it'll actually blow it up. Probably not, but it'll do a little bit of damage maybe. Hey, there we go. So let's just aim right for the side of the building. And rolling in. And laser is on. And those rockets will ride that laser right into the target. Nothing. Those rockets didn't do anything to that building. Piece of cake though, right? That was JDAMS, that was laser-guided munitions, and that was using your targeting pod and your JDAMS. Whenever you're done, you can hit standby to reset your targeting pod. We still have that SPI on the ground there though, you see that box? So what we can do is we're going to soy our JDAMS by hitting coolie hat down short. And now we're going to hit China hat back short. And that just pulled the box and put it right back in here. And then we're going to do our HUD. We're going to hit coolie hat up short. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit China hat back short. You can see that put our box right back here. And the reason for that, there's a box for your JDAMS and a box for your HUD. So if we have the hoist, the HUD soyed, from here, that box that we just reset onto our flight vector, if we start moving our TDC around, it's going to move that box. So we could put that box down like right here, right? And now if I hit TMS up long, that's going to set that box as a SPI. See that? Boom, that's our SPI. So if we pull off to the side, we'll see that this is our white cake SPI right here. So we can set a mark with our HUD that easily. Now if we turn on our targeting pod
and then coolie hat right long to soy it, and now we hit China hat forward long. It's going to slew it to that targeting, that SPI marker, and there we go. Now we're looking right there. And then we can hit standby. Now the HUD is still soyed, so we can hit China hat short, rear short, back short. And boom, it just reset the marker back onto our HUD. We see something down there that looked like a anti-aircraft gun just fired from that tree line, right? So we're going to soy our JDAMs. So coolie hat down short. We're going to pull a box, set it right there, and TMS up long. SPI is set, and now we can use our targeting pod and get a good look at it. Air to ground, coolie hat right long, China hat forward long. And now we're looking right down there at that tree line, and we could see what was going on there. So these are things that you're going to have to get real used to doing with the A10, because when you don't always have a perfect plan, and there's going to be stuff you're going to run into while you're out there in the field, and this is how you get your targeting sensors on it as quickly as possible. So there's nothing there, we're done. We just stand by our targeting pod, soy the JDAMs, China hat back short to reset the SPI onto it. And again, on the HUD, we're going to soy the HUD, China hat back short. And now the marker is back on the HUD. And now you're completely reset and you're ready to do whatever it is you need to do again. This is some of the most confusing stuff when it comes to the A10, is getting used to these commands, but it really is a lot simpler, especially once you get used to it. And of course, like I said, there's more you can do with your targeting pod, as in setting it up, changing the laser code. But just for starters, don't worry about changing laser codes till later on. But just so you know, it's not very hard. It would be something you do in your armament screen. There's a yellow hash mark in the corner of the munition. You can click on that and change the laser code on the bomb. It's got to be changed before you take off. You can't reprogram bombs in midair. So the laser code will have, the only thing you can change on the fly is your laser code you fire, or the laser code you look for. So you, if you're going like on a multiplayer server that uses Reaper drones, they always lays on 1688 because it's the default. Other players like to lays on 1688. The problem with that is if there's a lot of people working in the same area, you might drop your bomb and it chases somebody else's laser and it doesn't hit your target and you have no idea what's going on. You're like, what's going on? That's probably what's going on. So once you get better at all this stuff and you're more comfortable in your A10, then you can look up how to change laser codes. It's pretty simple. I'm sure I'll have a video later on about how to do that, but for tonight I just wanted to make sure you've got the necessary tools, a beginner's set of tools to start using your soy and your SPI and getting all your sensors on the targets easily and quickly and getting your bombs to hit exactly where you want them to hit. And I'm pretty sure you can do that with this lesson. Sorry for droning on so long. I know I'm a little long-winded, but I hope you enjoy these lessons. And next lesson, I'm not sure what yet, but we're going to keep on moving forward. I believe next one should be Mavericks, because we've got CCIP bomb drops, dumb rockets. You've got those down pat. You've got GPS and laser guided, piece of cake. So it's time to hit the big boys. The AGM Mavericks, one of the best tools in your kit. 8-mile range. You can get TV guided or infrared. And that's how you can really persecute long distance threats like SAM sites and stuff like that from a safer distance. So again, pilots, thanks for hanging out. Leave a comment, leave a subscribe, drop by a stream. I really try to stream almost every day when my body allows it. If I'm not either making YouTube videos or being sick, I am disabled, my body's a little messed up. And we do have a free Discord. Everyone's welcome to join. And I will see everybody in the skies. You all have a great time.